but I think it's fair because I don't think Vrabel wants Will Levis to even have the slightest thought of, I got this, and still keep doing what he's been doing the last few months and preparing and getting ready to go out there and play comfortable and loose and to be effective. So I think it's fair. So overall, I say fair. Look,
well, publicly, because what's the question?
Publicly,
right?
And I think it's also trying to hey, fans, like the Falcons game's one game. It's one game. Did he almost throw a pick and DeAndre Hopkins had to play defensive back? And yeah, he almost threw a pick there where he shouldn't have against Pittsburgh, and the Steelers, DB dropped it. The Steelers DB dropped the one to Chig right before the one that was caught to Wiley to end the game. So I do think it is overall his public approach with Will Levis is fair for me.
I think he's going overboard. Like,
okay.
I there's a difference between tough love and how Mike Vrabel has acted in the last 2 weeks. And I'll give you an analogy. It's the army dad that never tells his son, I love you. Now, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you, but he's such an asshole. Let's just call it what it is. And we got to get the most. We got to wake up early. You're in the army now. You're not behind a plow. You'll never get rich by digging a ditch. You're in the army now. Like every single day. But he never says, I love you, ever, for 50 years. That I feel like in the last 2 weeks, I get tough love. If there's anybody who is so upset at how sensitive society is, it's me. I think society is I'm not going to go any further. I think it's got a problem. So I am not the one that is like the softy, but I do think in the way that Austin, let's replay this real quick and let's get your opinion.
Will played last night.
Is that how you believe that Will Levis played on Thursday night? Did he win? No. Did he throw an interception? Yes. Did he make some bad throws or not great decisions for a quarterback in prime time? But do you think, if I asked you, how do you think Will Levis played?
Will played last night.
Wrong. That is fundamentally incorrect. He didn't play like that. He didn't play great. He shouldn't be praising him and saying, man, I'm disappointed they didn't throw 4 touchdowns like he did the week before. We're not going crazy here, people. But it is overboard. It's a little too much army dad for me. And that's how I answer publicly. I will also say this as a disclosure. I don't know what goes behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. Him and Will Levis may be dapping up. They may be buds. He may be telling him, I love you every single day, right? I don't know. But the question we're asking is publicly, and I think that it's overboard.
I think, again, overall, I say fair, but I love the analogy.
Do you agree with Mike Vrabel of what he said about his play on Thursday night? That's ridiculous.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that I see through it, I think. Does that make sense too? Like I am not falling for I don't think that Will Levis and Mike Vrabel are dapping each other up in the locker room and they're eating lunch together every day. I'm not saying they're doing that. I mean, they probably should eat lunch together every day because he's the future of the franchise. But we'll talk more about the future of the franchise tomorrow when it comes to Mike Vrabel and a trade. But so I do think that this is a facade. I think it's a show. I think it's Mike Vrabel trying to keep things as even as possible. And I think it goes into the overall game that Mike Vrabel is playing.
But but the point is, it's too much. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that, what you just said. I think it's a part of the whole plan.
Yeah.
But this is getting out of hand. You're sitting here not going to tell anybody what the quarterback situation is, if Ryan plays. Oh, well, what do you think about the reports of Will Levis starting? I never said that. Like, there's so many different examples of Mike Vrabel playing hardball. He can continue to play hardball, but what my point is is that it's too much. And that's why I answered the way that I did. We're kind of getting a little bit worn thin of it.
I don't, I think there is a line where Mike Vrabel will absolutely cross it and go way overboard with his criticism and critical nature of Will Levis. It's if he goes back to Ryan Tannehill. That I think is the what the hell is going on moment. And that's the title of today's show. Mike Vrabel needs to stop playing games with Will Levis as the Titans starting quarterback. Because what is he doing? He's playing games. Is he being Army Dad? Is he just going through this facade of public information and trying to throw off teams and gamesmanship for the Bucs to not know if Tannehill is going to come back or if it's going to be Levis for the third game in a row? In my opinion, that doesn't matter because has there been a schematic difference in Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis's game plan other than they throw the ball deeper for Levis? So if you're the Bucs, prepare for Levis and be okay with Tannehill. That's what I'm doing if I'm the Bucs. Prepare for Levis and then catch everything else underneath. So I think he only goes too far with his criticism of Levis is if he goes back to Tannehill, which absolutely should not happen.
But could.
It feels
Austin,
like it could.
It could happen. Mike Vrabel could sit here, and I don't condone this, but he could sit there and say, we're paying a quarterback $30 million. I don't believe in losing your job based on injury. Ryan Tannehill is our starter. He gives us the best chance to win, and he's going to start. He could say that, Austin. And that is the prototypical Army Dad response, right?
Yes.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Right,
It works in Mike Vrabel's favor. We understand why he does the gamesmanship stuff. But I also say it's kind of going overboard.
Look, I don't think in my opinion, it can't go overboard until Tannehill replaces Levis, a healthy Levis, as the starter.